recording now, and I'm going to put us on Facebook. So give me a second because I have to get it on Facebook first.
Okay.
Now it's on Facebook.
Yeah, I think so. Hurry up.
Not 1 second. It just takes a second.
Okay.
I can still see you guys, so you're all right.
Good.
Well, it's not that good.
If I take aspects off, I can't bloody see.
I can't either, Hayley, to be honest.
I've got to keep mine on. I can't see if I take them off.
But mine are reflecting the computer behind it. That's the trouble.
Are mine?
No.
No, we can't
Right,
reflect
go
yours.
live.
I mean, can you?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Sus.
Happy
Hi,
Friday.
Hayley. Welcome, Hayley.
Happy Guinness Day.
Love it.
How you doing? Okay.
Hey, I think we're it. Oh, we're in. Sorry, look,
We thought we were on.
keep going, ladies. We should be.
We're going for it.
We might be in twice now.
Fair enough.
Double
So you
looping
better
ourselves
Just
then.
chat amongst yourselves, ladies, for a
Okay,
second.
you're on the Guinness. I've gone for a pink gin and tonic today.
Oh, no, I'm on a red wine.
Right.
Any
Cheers
eyes?
to that.
It felt like
I'm
a
not-
gin night.
Yeah, I haven't opened the bottle of tequila yet.
And you worked so hard for it.
I know. Like I say, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do.
Let's say though, Liz, with them knockers, you don't really need to work that hard, do you?
But
Me,
you know,
I
I'm
need
a
to
sucker-
like, I have got some.
I'm a sucker for tequila, Hayley.
I do, yes.
I'm going to introduce Hayley, I think, because obviously a lot of the people that do watch this won't know who Hayley is. So if you
You're on
remember,
now, go.
if you remember last week, I talked about some of the lockdown, and Hayley was the lady that I was talking about that was locked down in Benidorm and then had a terrible time trying to get back into England to get home. So Hayley's here with us tonight. She's in Nottingham, and she's going to join us for the hour. Yeah. So later on, Hayley, we'll be going through that. I think there's a few things we wanted to say first, some topics that we wanted to touch on, and obviously that anyone has got an angle on or something like that has happened to them, or they've done something for someone else, then we'd like to hear on the comments from other people that are watching as well. So yeah, so I think Claire had got something that she was quite excited about, weren't you? Or you were happy that this thing was happening.
Yeah.
So-
So about that. I'm not sacking the producer tonight because obviously it's me. And now we have had a few more technical issues tonight, but hopefully we're over them now. So good evening, everybody. Lovely to see you, Susanna, Philip, and Lauren. Thank you for joining us. Very nice of you. And I know Liz has already introduced you to the lovely Hayley who's come to visit us tonight. So she's going to be with us all through tonight, and she's going to tell us all about her life. If we let her get a word in, that is.
Probably not.
One of our main topics we wanted to talk about was this whole kindness. And I've got a special reason for doing this, because some of you may and some of you may not know that next week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And the actual reason I'm going to say it is because the theme, it was changed at the last minute, and the theme is actually going to be kindness. Now, I've got my own view on that, and there's lots of posts I've already written ready for that. And I thought it would be great for tonight to get some ideas. So I'm so sure that a lot of you will have stories that you know about of kindness. You know, that you've seen. I mean, I certainly think probably one of the main ones, I don't know, I think it fits in the whole Captain Tom, you know, what he did was you know, for his age, it was brilliant. I mean, and it just, and the kindness of the people who supported him, because I mean, the last time I looked, and I haven't looked this week, it was on over £30 million. And considering that guy just wanted to raise £1,000 for charity, I mean, just unbelievable. So that, and then you see every Thursday night when I go outside the doors to rattle my frying pan and with my wooden spoon, I don't do just clapping, you know. I get overwhelmed when I hear. I can't see as many people here, but you know, with the amount of people that are out, because I can hear them in the distance. It's like thunder, you know. So that's incredible. So there are lots of things that, and I did actually, and I've got to share this one with you because it is kindness, but it's kindness between two neighbours, but they've done it deliberately. I don't know which one came up with this, but it was actually. What they've done is they've got, as two neighbours, they've got a wooden fence in between their house. And they've both got little children who are, I don't know, they were definitely toddlers, around 3, I'd have said, who clearly, most of the time, play with each other. And that must be, and you'll know this, Susie, that 3-4 year age, you can't explain to them what's going on. So what they've done, they've taken one of the fence panels and cut a big space in it and put perspex in it so that the two toddlers can still feel like they're playing with each other. Actually made me cry because it was so brilliant. I wish I got a picture of it. Please go and have a look. You know, I'll see if I can get a picture up to put in the group because I thought it was so nice and it really touched me. So those are my few bits that I've seen. So I don't know about you guys.
Have you also seen that one where the ladies put on a washing line some perspex and made some arms to go through it, and like her mother came and they could hug one another through this perspex stuff, and that was really heart-rending as well, you know. And you're thinking, God, people will overcome stuff, you know. Necessity is the mother of invention, and if you can do it, you will. I've got a couple of acts of kindness that I wanted to share with you, and the first one is from our village, and we're a very small village of 800 to 1,000 people, and we have different associations. We have a women's association, we have cooking associations, we have all sorts. Anyway, there's a young people's association, and as soon as this started, they decided that they would, all of them, help anyone that was vulnerable or any of the elderly in the village who couldn't go shopping themselves or do tasks themselves, pharmacy, whatever, that they would go as a Young People's Association group and do all the shopping, make sure everyone was all right, make sure they had everything they needed, get the prescriptions, go and get the medication, and do everything for them that they could. And that was all the young people. And when I say young people, I would say that ranges from about, I don't know, 14, 16 to about 18, 20. So they're very young people. And obviously they've got their own lives and they've got lots of things they could be doing other than that. But they really put themselves out to help all the vulnerable and elderly people or anyone else that needs their help in the village, which I thought was a really lovely joint act of kindness from the young people. And yeah, I mean, everyone has been helping one another. And the other one I saw, I think it was yesterday, I don't know whether you saw it on the television, it was Pamper Our Heroes, where the guys, they were filling bags with creams, face creams, hand creams, makeup, just things to pamper the NHS and carers and gather as many as they could. I don't know whether it's a charity that they just started or anything, and then they're giving these bags out to all the nurses, doctors, carers, to say thank you, full of these creams. And I thought it was a really lovely, you know, way of saying thank you, as well as the clapping, obviously. So yeah, so they were the acts of kindness that have stood out for me.
There has been some amazing ones, haven't there? What about you, Susie? Have you seen any that have stood out to you that have?
I've seen lots of like new things coming up like that with groups and things like that are starting to come about and people acting. There was one that I saw that they'd started this thing, I think, come from Australia, where they're being pamper fairies, and they're asking people if they like to pamper or they like wine, and then they're asking them to put a bit of a intro about themselves and a picture of themselves and their kids, and then they just say drop your address in as a private message, and then some fairy, one of the fairies in the group, will come around and drop you a little care package off. So and apparently it come from Australia, and somebody whose friends connected with there has brought it into over here, which is quite lovely. Actually nice. One that's for myself, a personal one for me, just my neighbour, they've got a young girl and a baby, and I'd my partner works for a plastic company, so they're making plastic bags and everything for the NHS, and the shop there, they give the workers a lot of the stuff there and give them like vouchers for the shop, and he brought home loads of cling film, bin bags, nappy bags, all that type of stuff. So I distributed them out to friends, family, and some of my neighbours, and just dropped them on the doorstep. But anyway, this one family, I just give them like a little baby toothbrush and some nappy bags and stuff, because they're the only people I know with a baby, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then the other day, the little girl, she's only about 5, and Mum walked her just round. They come and knocked on our door, and she'd baked a chocolate cake
Oh,
and brought it to the door. And Albie opened the door, and he was like, "Oh, Patricia," because they're friends. And to be fair, they stayed away from each other and that. They're obviously, they know the rules and everything. Mum's there going, "Just hand it over like this." But it really touched me, because I thought something that was like nothing, and just that little thing back. You think, oh.
but people appreciate it, and I think at the moment people are even appreciating the fact that, because I know with a few of my clients, just randomly, I just sent them a quick message, and it might just be, "Hi, I'm just checking in with you, make sure you're okay." In fact, I've just sent one today to somebody I haven't seen for a few years, and it literally was just thinking about you. When they randomly pass into your head, I just thought I'd send you a message to make sure you're okay. And I should do it more often, but it's just that,
Yeah.
you can't do it all the time, can you? But I and it is a genuine thought. So, there's
a lot of people. I
so
thought
much
people that I've like kind of lost contact with, really, because life goes on. You change jobs, you change where you live, you change what you're doing, and you just suddenly started popping in my head these people. I thought, it's really sad that I don't talk to them much anymore. I wonder how they're getting on. So I have the same, just sent random messages and reconnected with so many people from my past.
That's nice. And that's nice, because sometimes, like you say, life gets in the way and you forget to remember, if you like, and so to do that is really nice.
Yeah. And I think it's brought out a few different things, though, hasn't it? Because I don't know about anybody else, but it's a little bit different for me, because you all know that I run my business, so I'm on social media a lot, so it's not like I can have private accounts. So, and I just think, well, if somebody wants to know where you live, they don't find you anyway. That's my attitude. It's like, whatever. So, but I've always been quite wary about who I've added on as friends, because I do get a lot of this guy and this guy. And when you look on the profile, I don't add anyone on until I've looked on their profile, and either they know someone I know, or I've looked on their profile and they seem genuine. Because if they don't, I can block them straight away. So,
well, I just need to tell you, keep your hands off my tequila guy, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you say the tequila guy, mate. I hate the stuff. But
Me too.
I hate the stuff. Oh my god, I can't even bear the smell of it. Not even in Mexico can I drink that. But today I've actually had and it must have come through yesterday and I didn't see it, but I had this guy who messaged me or asked to be my friend. I thought, oh, here we go again, and normally you go on the profile and there's nothing really on there, and I don't bother. But this guy knew two people that I knew, so I checked through his profile. I thought, well, he seems legit. So I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? I can block him. So it's nothing. So I accepted his friendship, and he sent me a lovely message saying, "Oh, thanks ever so much." And we had a bit of a chat. I'm not saying anything deeper, but it turned out he actually lives in Italy, Rome in Italy, and he comes from Spain, lives in Italy. And just before the lockdown, he'd gone to Japan on business, and he's now still in Japan because he can't get out.
That's
So he
the trouble, isn't
was
it?
just looking for someone to talk to.
Yeah, and there are some sad things like that. I mean, and this comes with Hayley, but I don't know whether you've seen on the telly again. So about 35 babies from surrogate mothers in Albania. Waiting for their parents to collect them, and that is really sad. But I mean, the acts of kindness and just connecting with people makes a massive difference. I don't know whether you've seen, again, I would like to shout out to Harry Kane. He has now donated thousands of pounds sponsoring football kits with, thank you, NHS, Mind, all the, which is a mental awareness.
What's the point? Because you can't play football.
No, but what happens is when they sell the shirts, knowing that it's being supported by Harry Kane, that all goes to the different charities that he's got on the front of his shirts, which I thought was a very nice thing. You know, so from something massive like that to my friend Lynn, who gave me a bar of soap that she'd made. It's just kindness,
It doesn't
isn't
matter.
it? So,
Just, you
Yeah,
know what? It
fine.
doesn't matter how big or small, does it? It is
No.
just, you know, it has brought out the best and worst, unfortunately, people. But we'll keep them
Yeah.
out of the picture. So,
I'll always
hope-
appreciate cake, to be honest. Anyone wants to bring me cake, that's always good with me and my family.
or tequila, that'll be fine for me.
Yeah,
What about you, Hayley?
tequila cake is a win-win.
What's it like in Nottingham, Hayley? Is everybody coming together and supporting one another? And what's going on there?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as it is everywhere else in the country. I think there are, you know, there's still idiots, especially particularly young people, teenagers, still hanging about the streets and stuff. But we've had a bit of an unfortunate incident this week. A lady who I used to be a carer with, her 21-year-old son died of a heart attack
oh my God.
in her arms.
Oh my
21.
God!
Yeah, and today lots of the, because she lives opposite the school field, so lots of her friends and his friends have been out on the school field and released balloons and all getting, you know, trying to get together without being too close. That's why they've got the school field. But it's just, you know, everybody's, you know, just trying to, nothing at all is going to console her at all. She's lost a 21-year-old son. He just started university studying law, and it's just it's a massive shock. And you know, as my daughter, we go for a dog walk every morning, take the dogs out for a walk, and I said to her this morning, it just makes you think as a mother to be thankful that, you know, that your kids are happy and safe. I said, so, you know, when you put your kids to bed tonight, give them an extra kiss and just tell them you love them, and just be thankful for what you've got.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know what? I can't agree with you more. I think that the one thing, and that's actually that's the third person I've heard about heart attack in the past 2 weeks.
He was 21.
And the thing is, things are still happening.
Yes.
So other things, it's not everything's about
COVID-19.
It's not everything's about that. There's still other things happening, good and bad, and that obviously that is tragic. And I'm sorry that your friends got that, Hayley. And obviously, but lovely that the community's come together. But you're right, she's a mom.
Absolutely.
Nothing's going to console her. The only thing that's going to help her is time, and that's all that you can do is just people be there for her, can't they?
It just makes you realise, as you say, there's more to the world, there's more things happening than just this horrible virus.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people
I can't
need.
stop thinking about it, because I cannot imagine what that must feel like at 21 with his whole life in front of him.
Well, you can't.
Unbelievable.
Nobody can.
No.
Nobody can. And you know, the thing is, you probably saw the video I put on last night about them finding that little baby in a carrier bag. Who did that?
Who does
Well,
that?
you know, all I can think of is, God, that must be some mental health issues. Or did they think the baby was dead? I don't even know. Can't comprehend it. But thank God she's safe. And there's some angels that saved her. Somebody
Looked over her.
probably thought it was a cat they heard at first, because you wouldn't. It would be the last thing on your mind, wouldn't it? But somebody, by the grace of God, they found that baby and she's doing okay.
So where was the
But that's
baby?
good.
Was it in
I
or in a wood?
I don't know. It was in at the back of their houses in like a wooded area. So somebody had deliberately put it there, but it was just fortunate that they'd overheard. I think his son had overheard the noise, and they were arguing about whether it was a cat or so. Funnily enough, but then they decided no, it was something else. So that's
The thing is, nowadays there's no need for that. The stigma is there like it used to be in the 1900s.
But
You know,
I
you
suppose we'll
can't
never know.
somewhere.
We'll never know the circumstance. I'm just going to do a couple of shout outs, girls. So, hi, Katie, Paula, Andy, Sarah, Laura, Becky, Bettina, Kelly, Alison, Karen.
Hi, Ellie, Karen.
Yes, there's Alison, Sarah, Yvonne, Belinda,
Yes.
Lee, Robert, Lauren. Thank you all for watching us and supporting us. So we're going to have a bit of fun tonight. So no more sad stories, Hayley. But I understand. So,
No more.
I'm just kidding, because I'm sure there's going to be some more. Trust me. But actually, something I just want to tell you, because you lot think I'm not very handy, not very crafty, but I'm going to tell you, I got a bit paranoid now about going to the shops. Don't do it very often, but I had to pop out yesterday. And you might know I wasn't very well, so I had to rush out. And I thought, I need a mask. And these people are getting on my nerves because they keep coming up close to me and all that. Right, really getting on my nerves because they're in my space. So guess what I've done today?
Made a mask.
I've made a mask. Look at this bad boy.
Let me see what it says. Get out of my space. Fair enough.
Oh, I love it. You should sell them.
Really, I really like that. I'm going to wear it. I swear to God. Get out of my space now. So the
What's it
idea-
made out of? Because it looks like a nappy or something.
It's actually kitchen roll.
I thought it was a
Folded,
pad.
folded over about 6 times.
Have you seen the
Well,
videos
you
where
were-
they're making the face masks out of socks?
Yeah.
Oh, that woman with the heel.
With the hole just there and the mask. I
Oh.
love that one. She could not
The
stop
heel,
laughing.
and she's like one of the Muppets. Oh my God, that was hilarious, honestly. But people are really embracing things that they can do themselves. They're being creative. People who've never used the mobiles or iPads or computers are starting to use them. But of course, you know, you're getting a lot of people, especially older people, who are sometimes finding it difficult, you know, like when you're texting and stuff like that, you know, or sending photographs to family or whatever. And some of these texts, I've been absolutely in stitches. And I'll just read a couple out that I've seen. And just like these predictive texts, you know, when you know, you're just doing it and then you send it and you think, oh my God, what have I done? But there was one, my son's friend's mom had texted him and she said, oh, I'm really sorry, I've just got to tell you that Auntie Rini died yesterday, and I will send you all the details of the funeral and everything when that happens and everything. And at the end, put LOL.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so his mate got back to him. He's like, Mom, you've put LOL. He said, that means laugh out loud. She said, oh my God. She said, I thought it meant lots of love. She says, now I've got to phone everybody I've said that text to and tell them I meant lots of love, not laugh out loud, because of Auntie Rini. Don't know you.
Auntie Rini died, laugh out loud.
Laugh out loud. That was one.
Well, a
But, you
couple of
know,
people have said a couple of things. Alison has said, Liz, I'll flash you my boobs for some of your tequila.
the next time we have a party, that's the deal.
Sarah said, loose women eat your heart out. Yeah, fair play. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, Becky's asked if you're on the tequila. She might not have seen the in your chat. So I'll tell her to. I'll signpost her to the video in the chat room. Belinda said, Harry Kane, yes, he's awesome. I hope others follow his lead.
Yeah.
Oh, Belinda lost the sound for a second. Hang on a minute. Belinda's saying hello. Cheers. Katie is on. She's just asking if we're all okay. Yes, we're all doing really well. Thank you. Oh, Belinda actually I think she thought that my face mask was some kind of sanitary towel as well. No, it is honestly, I swear to God, it is just
I thought maybe it was as well, and I thought better of it and said nappy. Why did she have a nappy? She hasn't got a baby.
Karen has said, I've seen masks made from boxer shorts, hopefully clean ones.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm going to put a request out because I've decided I want a bit of a fashion statement. So I'd like somebody to make me some masks, but I want one in several different colours so they can either match my shoes or match my top or match something. You know me, girls. I like to have something matching. So if I've got
you want a Timmy Choo mask.
Yeah, see what I'll do. Whichever one I've got on would be dependent on what I'm wearing.
So watch this space. It's the biggest new, you know, who carries a handbag anymore? We don't go nowhere, we don't need one. Now it's going to be your designer face mask because it's the only part you see.
You know what I mean? I mean, like this outfit, I'd have a little pink one on the, you know, so, you know.
Add your lipstick to your outfit. It's now your face mask.
Well, exactly. Nobody can see me lipstick, so it won't matter, will it? And the reason for this as well, I was thinking about the reason I wrote "get out of my face" on the front is normally I've got one of those faces that, so I'm told, that people know what I'm thinking. So when I was in the supermarket a few weeks ago and the woman went behind me, I went, and I went, she knew Exactly what I was thinking. No chance. But if I'd had this on, she wouldn't have known, would she? Because she'd have only
No.
seen this bit. So
Yeah,
actually, it needs to have something green on it. And if that
Yeah.
fails, Liz, I'm going to get one of them big hats with big, with like
Oh.
spokes on it.
Yeah, with all the pool noodles.
Yes,
Oh,
so
that
they
was
come
funny.
near me, they'll take their eye out.
And that's a restaurant in Germany, and they've made pool noodle hats. They make all their customers wear these pool noodle hats, and it's like a circle, like a halo, and these pool noodles are sticking out all the way around, so everyone knows the distance that they should be from each other. I mean, it looks hilarious, and I'm sure when they've had a few drinks, they don't care, but to sit down there first with just one cup of coffee and no alcohol must be a nightmare.
Well,
Just like
I
an
don't
extended sombrero, isn't it? The Mexicans did it. The Australians did it with the pine cones. Let's do it with them.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
don't know about anybody else, but maybe I'm a bit weird here. Well, I know I am actually, but truthfully, if I go out, I'm only 5'3" and a bit. That bit's very important, just saying. And I use an umbrella, and I'm walking along the street. I guarantee I take somebody's eye out. Every time
Yeah.
I hate using umbrellas because I'm always hitting somebody with it. So clearly, something like that is going to work, isn't it?
Yeah,
They're going to
absolutely.
come near me if I'm swinging around like that.
Mind you, with the weather you've had, using an umbrella look a bit strange at the moment for you, Claire.
Yeah.
It's been sunshine forever.
And it might be bad luck to have it up inside. So we've got to come up with something new. So anyway, somebody needs to jump on that invention scheme. So we've had enough of our ideas now. So
Hayley, we've got some sombreros though, haven't we?
Oh, we surely have.
So they could always come in handy again, and I've got the tequila to go with it, and you've got the ceramic bowl that plays a tune. We'll be all right. We'll be
they're
okay.
big enough. But you've got tequila on the top of them as well, so they can just put it out.
Is it a chip and dip one? The chip and dip?
Yes!
You break a bit
Yeah,
off.
it is.
Yes, love them.
It
It's
is.
actually got a straw that comes up and round and straight into my mouth.
It's a chip dip and a tequila bum bum.
Ooh, nice. And that's exactly what we did do. And it got a bit messy in the end, but there you go. I just want to tell you a couple of more predictive texts on here. I've got one, guide to the girl.
Predictive text or what?
Predictive text. Predictive text. Guide to the girl, thanks for a great date. No, girl to the guy, thanks for a great date. No problem. When's the second one? I can't wait to see those beautiful big nipples of yours. No, she says. He says, oh God, sorry, predictive text. I meant dimples. And the other one was like, are you hungry, son? He's like, starving, Mum. Oh, there's a surprise waiting for you in the kitchen. The boy, oh, I hope it's shaved pussy. He's like, oh my God, Mum, don't read that last text. I meant shaved pork. Mum. And the other one, and the next one was, how did she break her finger? And he's texted back, oh, she got her finger stuck in my butthole. And he's like, no, in my buckle.
Some of them are hilarious. They are hilarious. Do you know what? I can't remember off the top of my head one of the predictive texts, but I'm going to say this story. And I think I'm going to say it, and somebody might kill me, although I'm not going to say any names as to who this was. But I will tell you that I know somebody who once did an email. So you know on your emails, you've all got emails, haven't you, ladies? So you know on your emails, if you're going on holiday, you actually are supposed to put in an automatic email that comes up and says, I'm sorry, I'm away on annual leave, well, so and so, and I will be back on this day if you need help, blah, blah, blah. So I know someone who set that up and actually didn't go back and check it. And 3 days into a holiday, she gets a call where the person on the end is literally just going, like, what the hell is this? And apparently, she'd set it up right, the dates were fine, everything, but where it came to the bit that said, I'm away on annual leave, it actually said, I'm away on anal leave. She was going to kill me. But I can't say who it was. I won't say who it was. I'm like, oh my God, I was literally wetting myself. I mean, oh my God. And that's the trouble. You see, predictive text is fine, and it does change things, so you do have to check things before you. But the problem is, and it's like the spell checker. Great spell checker is, isn't it? But the trouble is, if it's an actual word that's gone in, it will just put it in.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
The line only comes underneath it if the word doesn't make any sense, or if it isn't a real word.
Yeah, but
it could put anything in it as long as it's a real word.
But then you see, the trouble is, it's not just predictive text that can actually be in real life, you know, and you can, things that you know, and they're totally not what they're supposed to be. And like my son, he couldn't say his V's. And right up until God knows when he was in his teens, he'd just say, can I have some salt and bigger on that? You know, because that's how he knew it.
My little laddie, my daughter's Phoebe, and he even though he can say Phoebes and he can say Phoebe, he's always called a BB, so he's BB. Yeah. That's it. That's what on that. It's always BB. But actually, I grew up quite a sheltered childhood. I've got to say this now. It's really quite. Well, it's quite dramatic what happened to me, to be fair, because it was quite embarrassing in later years when I finally found out it was wrong. But every bath time, we get out of the bath, big towel around you and all that. Okay, here you go, sweetie. Okay, ready for your lily? Let's get your lily on you. Get your lily. I'm like, that's what I thought, lily. Okay, yeah, lily. It's only years later down the line that I realised that lily is actually what most people call it, is talc. Talcum powder. But no,
Claire,
my mother thought that it should be called lily because it's a nicer word. Maybe it smells like lilacs and everything else, so maybe to call it lily. But not realising that stuck with me, and I did not actually realise. I thought when I went to the supermarket to buy it that it was like French or something. It was like foreign written on. I'm in the supermarket going, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Is this lily?" And the guy's going, "What?"
Oh God!
I'm trying to explain.
How could you do that?
The white powder you put on yourself, the looks I got, Jesus.
White powder you put on yourself?
Yeah.
Maybe not the best choice of words.
Scarred for life, absolutely scarred. But
I
some
don't even
people
know where it came
now,
from.
they get out the bath now, and I put lily on them. If I went through it, they're going through it too.
So you're as bad as your mother then.
We all have different words for things. I bet you listen. I'll just ask you a question. Hayley, what do you call your remote control?
Remote.
What do you call your remote control, Liz?
Chris.
What about you, Susie?
It's a flicker.
There you go. It's a flicker. Passes the flicker. You know, I bet, come on, guys, somebody stick up for me. Stick up for me. But they've all got different names for things. The flicker. Passes the flicker. I'm just going to let you know that I have actually got permission to tell you who it was who said the anal leave.
Okay.
Because she's actually watching, and it was Katie.
Katie. It couldn't be anyone else.
I'm going to live that down.
She is probably.
That's Claire's other daughter. That's Claire's other daughter, Hayley.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is Claire must be a fantastic mum.
She has owned up in the chat. I'm like, oh well.
Are you sure she did it by accident? I remember
I did it on purpose anyway to let them know. I think you know.
Oh God, I tell you honestly, and as if they haven't been traumatised enough with this lockdown, you're doing that to them, Claire. That's terrible. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Katie's excuse is she's dyslexic. How was she supposed to check it? Do you know what I mean? And the truth is, she is actually dyslexic, but what she doesn't realise, it's because it wouldn't have changed it because it recognised anal as an actual word.
It's
so
a word.
Genuinely, it wouldn't have changed it.
But doesn't it only usually recognise the most used words?
Well,
actually, that's a really good point, Hayley.
Really good point. Yeah, what should we be doing using that word? Yeah, well, it does on your phone. Not sure if it does on your computer. But yeah, moving on. I think Susie's got a bit of an interesting story because we've all had things that have happened in this lockdown, but news stories. But actually, I'm sure Susie's had an interesting news story with some animals quite near her home.
Talk about
recently.
not really knowing your neighbours or your neighbourhood. I mean, I thought we were quite a small little place here. I thought,
How long you been there?
I honestly thought I knew what was going on around here, and it's quite a nice place, I must say. You know, quite a nice place and everything too. Don't get a lot of police around or anything. But anyway, the one day, a poor dog got run over just around the back of my house here. So the police come to kind of, you know, see to it and everything like that. And while they were here, they actually noticed on a drive just opposite where the dog had been kind of knocked over, a load of blood coming out of the drive, like the door. And so they went over to investigate it. And when they opened up the garage door, there was 3 sheep in there being bled to death. I mean,
Oh my God.
I think it's awful. There's one morbid.
Oh.
They're an abattoir thing going on. That's what they call it, abattoir.
Abattoir. Yeah, they have their own abattoir.
They were selling, and it come down to be quite a big thing going on around here. Apparently, there's a local farm, and they're taking the sheep from there, and they're putting them in the carriage, and they're selling the meat on the black market or whatever they're doing. And about 5 people got arrested in the end. And you know, me and Ian sit in the garden, and because there's farms by, you quite often hear farm animals. You do. And there was this couple of times sat there going, God, them sheep sound ever so close. So when we heard that, we were like,
Oh shit.
about being responsible neighbours, should we have reported it? But what did you say to Mr. Plod on the phone? Or I can hear some really loud sheep. Could you come sort them out?
No, I don't think that'd wash.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
wash,
no.
would it? But you know, but I'm still in disbelief, to be fair. I'm thinking, really? Just I walk past the house now, and you're like, okay. And you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
No. Well, we had the same. It gets quite windy up on Los Planes because we're a plateau. And the one, a few years back now, there was some sheep in a field, a couple of fields back from us. And you could smell them. As you walk past on the main road, you could smell them. And they were pretty horrendous, to be fair. And it was windy the one night and everybody was hunkered down, sleeping, whatever. The next morning, everyone got up and the farmer came to have a look at and check the sheep and one thing and another. And what they'd done, because there's like the shed and then there's like a hill. It's not very high, probably about 10 feet or something down onto the road. So they pulled a car up or a van up into the road. They got the sheep out of the pen, slaughtered them and pushed them down over the hill, and the guy had thrown them into the back of the van, and they killed all his sheep and all the blood was running down the hill. Exactly the same. And the people who were next door never heard a thing because it was so windy, not a thing, because you know, the wind just masked everything. And they were horrified to know that there's a van load of guys, or maybe women, I don't know, but a van load of people getting the sheep out of this farmer's pen, slaughtering them, throwing them over.
I think that whole operation's going on right by you. But you think, so why would you even think for 1 second that that would be happening?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think the farmer's just taking the sheep for a little stroll or something, maybe, who likes of it. Or why would you think that somebody would think that that's okay to do in any way, shape or form?
Well, it doesn't come into your comprehension, does it? And I
buy that
support it. You know what I mean? You'd be like, well, what do I say? They think, am I going mad? I'm hearing sheep.
You've been in lockdown too long.
It did make me feel a little tiny bit better that there was some kind of reasoning why the sheep were so loud, because I thought we thought we were going a bit mad. We were like that, like really loud.
Yeah, you've been in lockdown too long. But unfortunately,
hello, officer. I need to report some strange noises. What kind of noises? Well, sound a bit like.
But much louder than that. Or like, a
lot of them.
And they sound a bit distressed.
Where are these noises coming from? Well, not quite sure. But
next
really
door.
Close.
Right behind me.
I think it's raining sheep. Can you imagine the police? They'd laugh at you. So
yeah, they.
You know what I mean? You've got to laugh at it.
But how ironic that because of the death of the poor dog, that was then sorted immediately. You know, so almost like it's pretty ironic, really, that the poor dog had to, you know, be run over for that, because no one would have even batted an eyelid, even thought about it or anything like that otherwise.
I don't know how long it's been going on or how long it could have continued for if they're making a profit out. I mean, that's what makes you wonder, is who would buy that? Or where are they selling
Anybody.
it to? Where's that?
Clearly they were buying it and they've been making a profit because they're still doing it. But what about the money they're taking away from the poor farmers?
Farmer. Yeah.
Everybody's trying to make a living in this time. Well, in any time, and it's just not
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah. Well, lockdown particularly is going to be hard for people anyway. So without all that sort of thing, I mean, and we're lucky we're at home being locked down. But like for Hayley, for instance, as I said last week, Hayley, you were stuck in Spain, weren't you? So do you want to run through what actually happened to you? Because we really need to hear the full story. I only touched on it last week.
Yeah, well, we'd planned this this breakaway in Benidorm for 10 days before Christmas because my friend was getting married, so there was having a hen do, a stag do. It coincided with St Patrick's Day and also her 60th birthday. So it was like 4 big celebrations all going on over this week. So there was in total about 60 people should have been going. So me and Steve thought, oh, we'll go for a few days before, relax and stuff before everybody else turns up on the Monday. So we actually flew out on Friday, the 13th. Hello, should have told me in the first place. Friday the 13th, just as the lockdown was being announced. So as we flew in, we got into Alicante Airport at 10:30 as everything closed at midnight.
Oh my God, but you were in 2 minds whether to actually make the journey or not. It was almost like it was incredulous, wasn't it? You kind of half believed what was going on.
The lady who was getting married, she messaged us all. We was actually sat on the Ryanair flight. We were sat on the plane and she messaged us all, said it's all about to kick off, that they're implementing lockdown, that all of the bars and stuff are being closed. And we're like, well, they'll probably close a few, but they won't close everything. We'll still be all right. Well, there'll still be somewhere for us to go. Because we weren't even in a hotel, we were in an apartment. So, it's not like we could turn up and we'd still get food and booze and stuff provided for us. We had to go out foraging. So we basically got there on the Friday night. As I say, you could still see a few bars open, but there weren't that many people about. So I think it had sort of like circulated around to people what was beginning to happen. So we goes to bed, gets up the next morning, and yes, we did see a few people out and about on the streets. And to be honest, I mean, I know there's been a lot of, people being called because there were still English tourists out on the street, but it was just so sudden how it came about. So, perhaps some people didn't watch the news before they went to bed at night. They still got up in the morning and expected it to, to
be
still
something
be as it was before. But yeah, I mean, we managed. We was in a really nice apartment. The supermarkets were still open, so we could still get us gin and a Spanish brandy. And to be honest with you, the food was plentiful. Toilet paper was fantastic. We could get as much toilet paper as we wanted, dumping our clothes out of the suitcase and filling it with toilet paper. But yeah, everything was fine. The only problem we had was getting home. Because, as I touched on before, it was Ryanair. Let me tell you, people, do not ever book with Ryanair. They are the biggest cowboy outfit I've ever known in my life. We have actually got flights booked for September to go back to Benidorm to spend a few days with my son before we was going to head up to our place in Chibens. I don't think we're going to be doing that, even if it is still going ahead, because Ryanair just treat us terribly. They cancelled our flight home. And still went ahead with that flight, but was charging double what we paid for, or more than double.
No.
That's against the law, surely.
They said we'll give you a voucher and then you can rebook it, but the voucher didn't cover what the new price was for the flights.
Wow.
We couldn't access this voucher, so we were still going to have to pay for it. I think it got up to over £300 each for the flights with Ryanair.
You saying that, Hayley, I don't know how you girls feel, but I must admit, I feel quite strongly about all the companies who have, I see a lot of people in my business and they're saying you shouldn't profit from this and all that. But actually, when people are just going about their normal business and they're not doing anything different, then leave them alone. I've still got my bills to pay, that kind of thing. And that's just like, you do get that off some people. However, I do feel that the people who are profiteering, because now this is different, and that is profiteering. So the guy that went out, that got measured, and literally on the day he ordered 6,000 boxes of hand sanitizer, people need to boycott him.
Yeah.
And people like Virgin for what they've done to their staff, and Ryanair. Now you told me that, I'm like, hang on a minute. Now you're just taking advantage. And I have seen a few of the places that I go to, not that I'm going to many places at the moment, that literally this little bottle of hand sanitizer I saw the other day, £4.50.
Yeah, they got them into vends in the pharmacy.
And I'm like,
£4.50.
no,
Yeah.
I just refuse to buy it, and I actually will be boycotting them afterwards. So you're right, I won't use Ryanair again now, even though that didn't happen to me, Hayley. I won't, and I don't know, how do you, Liz and Susie?
I mean, to be honest with you, I've always gone with Ryanair because to me it's just like catching a bus, a cheap and cheerful and all the rest of it. You pay what you get for. If you want a first class
You get what you pay for.
then you go with British Airways or something like that. But unfortunately, if you're going to start doing that to the customers that are loyal to you, then when everything does get back to the proper flights going out and everything is normal and people starting to fly abroad for holidays and everything, people are not going to go again to be treated because of the way they've been treated. So straight away, their profit will just plummet because they're trying to claw back now the profit, what they have lost through the lockdown, and they're not going to do that because of the bad press of what they've done to people like Hayley. And that is absolutely, I think, illegal, because I don't think you can double sell something when you've still already got those passengers there. So that's something that should really go to the Air Association Ombudsman or something like that, I would have thought. Now, getting a voucher, I understand that because they're still trying to pay the staff. They're trying to keep solvent so that when lockdown does stop, that they can carry on. And I understand vouchers, and most people would be like, yeah, well, I'm going on holiday anyway, a voucher would be fine. But to do that to you, knowing that you were stuck in Spain, was absolutely disgusting. So you didn't go from, was it Alicante you were going from?
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't go with them in the end?
No, we couldn't get a flight with Ryanair. Well, we could if we was prepared to pay over £300 each. And in the end, we booked flights with British Airways that was about 240 for the two of us, which wasn't too bad. But obviously there was the other issue of getting to the airport, because we didn't know if the buses were running, because 1 minute we was told they was cancelled and there's no train to Alicante. So we was told we'd have to get a taxi. So we had to get two taxis to get to Alicante airport. So it cost us another €140 for two taxis. And
so you had to go separately. You had to travel separately.
It turned up, it was two minibuses. So we could have both sat in the minibus. There was plenty of room.
Oh.
But
That's
it
what
was,
I mean.
I would have paid £1,000 to get home. By that stage, we'd had enough. We just wanted to get back. So, you know, we didn't know what was happening in England. And we were seeing all of these scare stories and, you know, the toilet paper saga and stuff like that. We thought, well, you know, perhaps we're going to be better off staying here because we can, you know, we can get food, we can get drink, we're quite comfortable, the sun's shining, how bad can it be?
And what, were you allowed to stay in that apartment gratis, or?
Well, we spoke to the guy because we said to him, because we knew by the time we changed his flight, we was fly back at a later time, we said to him, can we pay extra to stay? And because obviously if we'd have got kicked out of the apartment at 10 o'clock in the morning, our flight wasn't till 10 o'clock at night, where was we going to go? You couldn't be on the streets, there was no bar.
Well, you'd probably be in a police cell, actually.
Probably, yeah, probably. So we spoke to the guy who we rented the apartment from. He said, no, you can stay as long as you like, free. I won't charge you anything. He was really good. I mean, I don't suppose he's got any more going
You'll
in
deal with him
anyway.
again, won't you, Hayley? You'll deal with him again
will.
because he's done that.
Yeah.
And it just came into my head then. Do you remember several years ago when what was it, the ash cloud?
Oh, the ash, the lava.
I know some people who got stuck in that, and the hotel
Melinda was one of them.
Couldn't get home. They wanted to charge them £600 a night to stay in that hotel, and that's the difference. It's profiteering. It's like, and they're being very short-sighted. I understand they need to make some money back, but that's short-sighted, and people will not go back, and they will tell lots of people.
Yes, they will.
Happened, isn't it, even from that? I mean, at that time, I was working in the travel industry, and I worked in the travel industry for years. So, you know, the likes of Ryanair and that, they rely on that cheap, cheerful. People will always pay for it because it's cheap and it'll get them where they want to go. They don't sell on service. It's never been their thing. So when it comes to it, they actually don't care. He hasn't got that moral in him. to even
No.
care about the fact that they'll just whack the price up. They're like, come and get me then for it. What are you going to do? Because they rely on fast, quick turnover and lots and lots of people travelling. But in the Ashcrow period was the first thing that come out, where I was managing a travel agent at the time for TUI, Thompson's and First Choice. And that was where they came out with this massive big thing where it didn't matter. It all money, everything, the paperwork, all the administration, and it didn't matter. We knew at some point we'd get the money back. So we just invited people, whoever they travelled with, or wherever they got things booked with, into our stores, and we helped them. We just helped them rebook a flight, rebook a holiday, whatever it was. It didn't matter where they'd come from, where they were going to. And then as an agency, we had to then spend hours and hours filling out all the paperwork for the ATOL and NABTA and all those things like that, and getting all the insurance stuff. But actually all that mattered was those customers walked out of our store being looked after. And you know, those customers stayed with us, and I'm sure even though I'm not in the travel industry, I've still stayed with that company for it. But that's when you see the likes of some other big name companies, sad to say, but you know, Thomas Cook and stuff like that. And I have loads of lovely friends that worked for them, but that didn't fall on that kind of kindness and that service and just helping people when they need it.
When you do something like that, when you go abroad, especially if you're going to a hotel somewhere you haven't been before, something you don't know, you want to know that your hand is held the whole way there. And I mean, Hayley, that didn't stop for Hayley, because when they finally got home, they actually didn't get to Nottingham, did you, Hayley?
No, we had to fly back to Gatwick, and again from Gatwick to back to Nottingham was going to cost us about £100 again to get back from there. So what originally it cost us, I think it cost us something like less than £100 for the two of us for our air tickets there and back, which obviously was to East Midlands, which is literally 10 minutes up the street from us. It ended up costing us about £600. So you know.
And it is all the stuff like that, isn't it? There's just a shout out, ladies, because I can't believe the time, but we've got obviously Katie, obviously bless her, still laughing from what she said. Oh shit, I've been rumbled. Carolyn, nice shout out to you. She's watching. Stephen's watching. Jackie Smith watching. Danielle's watching. Belinda, she's actually said something about because I think when we mentioned about the sheep and who to report it to, she said apparently there's a Shropshire Rural Facebook page. It's a farming site and you can report things to them and they won't laugh. A lot of animals being stolen from farms and machinery. So actually that is happening. Nice to see you, Jan. Jan's watching. Karen's is watching. Tracy's watching. Hiya, Tracy. Nice to see you. And Shannon's watching as well. So lovely to see you.
Shannon.
Got another 6 minutes, ladies.
The poor farms are getting a bit of a bad rep, aren't they, at the minute? People stealing their animals and then other people picnicking naked on them and stuff like that as well. Well, I'm right being his bonnet about that.
The poor farmers, exactly.
Yeah, the poor farmers.
I mean, didn't you get your friends offer to pick you up in the end, Hayley?
Yeah, they did. There was fantastic. They came and picked us up from the airport, brought us back. I mean, we couldn't really do the social distancing at that time, but it wasn't.
No, but they were all dressed up in their gear, weren't they? I saw
when they picked us up from the airport, they was all in the suits and everything. But they both do these big TikTok videos where they're always doing crazy things to cheer everybody up. But they told the day before, they was actually at home and they got the big the hazmat suits, the whole cover, the whole thing. Everything, the masks, and it was like the saying was going to come and pick us up. So yeah, they were really funny.
I saw that.
I've got to ask you, Hayley.
So that's the act of kindness.
We mentioned last week that you sort of live half the time in Spain and half the time in Nottingham, don't you? Which you mentioned. But in Nottingham, you've got your own business, haven't you? Is it a cafe you've got or something like that? And so I presume at this moment, that's like you can't work at this moment in time because that's all shut.
Yeah.
But obviously with the talk, and I'm going to put my hands up, I haven't had time to watch the news today. So I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know exactly what's happening, but I know there's talk about now trying to get back to things. Where are you at with that? Are you thinking, have you made any plans yet?
We were told right from the beginning that because of the nature of our business, we do takeaway food. Yes, we have tables and chairs inside and people could sit, But when I first came back from Benidorm, we tried a couple of days where you know, we closed the shop off. We was just doing you know, pickups. People could come and collect the food, and we'd have it ready and they'd take it away. But our problem with our business is it's right next to a primary school, so a lot of our business is from the mums coming and going, taking the kids to and from school. And at that time, the schools had just been closed, so it closed our business down. But we're lucky because we rent off the council, and the council rent for those properties is really cheap. We've got no business rates or anything like that. The gas, it's just electric. So everything's been cut right back down to bare minimum. So, you know, we're not doing too bad. We're not struggling.
Did you manage to get the grant then, Hayley? Did you? Because anyone who's got premises automatically should have got the £10,000.
Well, I'm classed as self-employed, aren't I? So, but the trouble is, I've only been running my business for a year and a half, so I haven't even got the 2 years of.
But you've got premises. But does that money go to the premises owner? It doesn't come to you then, I think.
Yeah. We rent, you see, and as I say, the rent's pretty cheap. I think it's about works out about £90 a week for the decent sized premises that we've got. So, you know, the council have been really good about it. It's just been put on a hold, and it will have to be paid back at some point, obviously, but we're not going to go back into the shop and they want it straight away.
To be fair, Hayley, I would check that, because actually they shouldn't, because they have, for every premises they've got, they potentially have been able to claim the £10,000 for every one of those premises. So actually, the one thing, because I know a lot of people in Shrewsbury, I've got a lot of friends who are self-employed, who the moment this lockdown came in force, the people who own their, like the retail parks and all of that, and most of them were private landlords, and straight away they came in and said, don't worry about the rent, we're stopping the rent for the next 3 months and then we'll review it. So straight away, and that was like a gift for a lot of my friends who've got premises, because they didn't know what they were going to do, they had to shut, but a lot of people have done that. So the council should be following that lead, and if they're not, you all need to band together to make sure they do, because they will be getting something for it. All of my friends who've got premises themselves, they got that £10,000. Even somebody I know who's just in Oaken Gate. So trust me, that keep your eye on that. I promise.
Yeah. Wouldn't your accountant be aware of anything like that, Hayley? Maybe if you get in touch with your accountant.
I would certainly bring it up, because obviously, I mean, we just thought we'll close the business, we'll try and struggle. We didn't expect it to be closed for this long, did we?
No.
This long. We thought it would be a couple of weeks. We should be able to suck it up. You know, we've got a bit of money saved up, so you know we should.
Don't rely on the accountants, because I tell you now, the accountants, Liz, don't know. So, but maybe you and I can have a chat, Hayley, and I'll tell you the things that I do know about, because actually there are quite a few things that you will be entitled to that you might not know about at this moment. But you know what, ladies, our hour has gone.
Really?
We've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes, I think.
According to mine, but then we've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So what is the most important thing that we've got? What ladies haven't we said?
Well, the most important thing for me is don't ask me to sing again this week.
Okay.
Hayley's turn to do an encore anyway. Hayley, you're on.
No, if it was her husband Steve, then that would be fine, wouldn't it?
That's for sure.
No, so
thank you for coming on. Thank you. It's been lovely to have you, and I know this is all new to you, to do something like this. And you know what, girl, you don't have to scrub up well. You have to say, about 2 hours ago, I looked like shit. It was only because I did a Facebook Live earlier to another group that I run, and I went, oh my God, I can't appear like that. It looked, I was pale and all that. I thought, oh my God, I really will frighten people up. So I can't tell you how much makeup I've got on here.
So tell me, Claire, when you're actually going to take your mask off then?
Yeah.
Well, I did actually think. You know what I mean? And I thought, nah, get me space, love.
Well, we were going to talk a bit about TikTok. Obviously, we've got like 2 minutes. We've got 2 minutes left, and we had a lot of feedback on the TikTok. So I think we need to start with that next week, because obviously we're chatterboxes, aren't we? And
you want people to put some TikTok videos on. If you've never used it,
that might be nice. I've never used TikTok.
Jan, who was one of the people who responded about our tic-tac as well.
Oh, hello.
No more wine for me.
Cheers, cheers, Claire.
Cheers. God knows what it's she actually did a video on LinkedIn.
I saw it. It was really good. A really good
It was very
post.
informative. And I do
Yes.
have to confess, I have now downloaded TikTok. So just saying, and actually maybe, but some of the stupid things I do, as some of you already know, for instance, the other day when I was in the bathroom, anybody that knows me knows when I take these off, just me, I can't even see the screen. I don't even know, where are you? So obviously when I get in the shower and I'm getting out, I haven't got my glasses on because I'm not showering in with my glasses on. So dries myself off, shakes myself off, whatever, pulls over, gets me deodorant, squirts it under my arm. Oh my God, that doesn't feel right. Oh my God.
Hair mousse.
Squirted dry shampoo in my armpits.
How hairy are your arms?
I know. I was walking around like this all day.
Susie, she's like Bob Marley in a headlock.
They needed washing. I didn't have time to wash them. Use the dry shampoo. It's a new
Yeah,
thing.
but they're clean.
I remember going into Marks and Spencer's with my auntie, and there was a table of testers at the side, and she picked up what she thought was a perfume and sprayed it all around her neck, and it was body mousse, and she had a big white
Brilliant.
I saw one where a woman thought that the hair mousse picked up the thing, and it wasn't. It was that fast drying foam that you use in
expanding
walls.
foam.
The expanding foam. She's got it all in her head, all over her hair and everything, because she thought it was hair mousse, because it came out like that, and she thought that's what it was. It was like the expanding foam. So,
I've never felt like the most sensible one in the group ever.
When I'm in a shop, I like to undo things to smell them. Does anybody else do this? Because I might be in there and I think, oh, I'll just have a sniff. So I got that. Well, the one day I did it, I don't know where I was. Name dropping, probably Sainsbury's or Waitrose. Could have been Aldi, of course.
was it Lacora? They were at Aldi.
Wherever it was, I decided that I was going to smell this stuff, as I normally do, but not really paying attention. But as I took the lid off, you couldn't quite see it, so I pressed it. And as I pressed it shut up into my face, and it was bloody tanning stuff.
But you looked very well anyway.
You had the nostrils in Shropshire.
Yeah. So next week we have a look at some TikTok stuff. Anybody make any TikTok videos, upload them to our page. We can have a look at that. It is now 2 minutes past.
Yes,
and we are late.
I know. Do you know what, everybody? I want to say thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Cheers, everyone.
Hayley, thank you very much, my darling. See you soon.
No problem.
Lovely.
Cheers.
So who's going to join us next week? Let's see. Let's see those two again. Bye for now.
Bye. Oh, bless you. Thank you.